Eamon Khan here for Seconds Out with Johnny Nelson MBE. Johnny, pleasure to speak to you. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Long time no see, but we're good. Nice to be here in Box Park in Croydon. Looking forward to this weekend.
I just want to change tack a little bit. Normally we start off with the weekend's action, but I just want to change tack to a story that's emerged regarding Tyson Fury, and you spoke so well about Tyson Fury in the past before. I just want to get your immediate take on what you saw from the images of Fury appearing to be intoxicated over the weekend.
Well, there's no law against getting drunk, and I'm quite sure it's not the first, and it won't be the last time something like that happens. To me, I think it's as I said, I think Tyson Fury, the realization of what's happened to him will kick in slowly but surely. And all these, bold, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. He's got to think about it. These things are manifesting in his head thinking, God, this happened. I can't have prepared any better. And so now all of that's going on. Trust me, I don't believe Tyson will fight Oleksandr Usyk next or again. You either packs in, or if Usyk retires or moves down, then you see Tyson. I don't think he'll get in with Usyk again. I think he'll either retire because of the fashion of the defeat, and he will just be struggling to deal with it. He's a man. He's going out for a drink. That's it. There's nothing wrong with getting drunk. As a guy of his caliber, he probably should have tried to do it behind closed doors. He's not done anything wrong. He just got pissed. But to me, I don't think it makes any difference. It's not the first time he's done it. I've seen him like that before. I just think it probably buys into all the theories of whether or not he'll box again, where his head's going to be at, for the Usyk rematch.
Is there a concern there, though, in the sense of whether he has the fight or not with Usyk, the rematch, that it might be the start or him being in the spiral like he did after the Klitschko fight? Is that the concern there?
That's exactly what it is. I'm trying to say it without saying it, but to me that's exactly what it is. And so we can try and trivialize it, but and you'll have all these people around him saying we're going to do this, we're going to that, we're going to this. They are not in his head. They are not the guy that took the beating. They're not the guy that's made all these bold predictions. I'm going to do X, Y, Z. I'm going to get myself back into it again. He's a bus driver. He's a passenger. He's a ticket inspector. He's everything. What he says goes. So all the people around him, they've just got to sell it. They've got to say, we're doing this, this, this. Until he said, no, I'm out. So me saying something like this, you never know. He might rile him on, but what does Tyson Fury needs? He needs somebody that he listens to. That not somebody to listen to him. He needs someone that's in his corner saying, you're doing this. This is how we're doing it. There's no negotiation. I want you to jump. Don't ask me how high. But it's hard to be in that Tyson Fury's position and actually bow down to somebody and actually accept that. Have somebody, because when you're that successful financially and career-wise, when you've got to the top, unless you really, really love it and you're prepared to rough it out to get back there again, why would you listen to anybody that's probably you think is a lesser man than you to tell you what to do? You don't have to do that. I actually said the last stellar performance from Tyson Fury was his last fight against Oleksandr Usyk, against Wilder. It actually wasn't. It was his first fight against Wilder. Was his last stellar performance, not the last one. And so that was it. So right now, and you've seen me fight before, Vicky Hatton, you've seen it before. They've rinsed themselves out, but now they want it more than it wants them. They're getting themselves in great condition, but their best performances have gone. And so now Tyson may, do everything right, train right, prep right. Obviously, that video didn't look like that. But then I just think the last time we saw the best of him was the first fight against Wilder.
So if let's go on the basis that the rematch does happen, with all that you said then there, you feel that Usyk would come out maybe a clearer winner?
Yeah, I don't, listen, that kind of tongue-in-cheek said Tyson Fury's legs have gone when he boxed against, when he boxed Ngannou. And because I'm thinking, how can you perform like that? Because you're tripping over yourself. What's going on there? Maybe there's more truth in jest. Maybe his legs haven't gone, but it's not the fight he was. That last fight and the fight before that told us that. His best performance, again, I think, was the first fight against Wilder. and maybe it's just that time. Listen, the guards change, things change. And you think for Tyson Fury, that is everything. But once that doesn't start to work with that, you've got problems.
On the other side of the equation, Usyk appears to be now looking to go to Hollywood and just doing some movies, one with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Is that not a signal to say also that on his side of it, he might have a foot out of it?
Which is why I said, before I said Tyson Fury won't box again. Now Usyk's talking about stepping back down to cruiserweight, stepping out doing X, Y, Z. So the only reason why I said Tyson Fury won't fight again is because Usyk's there. If Usyk gets out of the way, Tyson Fury will somehow be able to justify himself getting himself back in that position again. But as long as Usyk's around, he ain't gonna box. He can't box. He can't get his head around it unless he fights Usyk. And I just don't think he can go through that again because it's hard enough as it is. He can smile and joke and say, no big deal. It's a big deal. Trust me, it's a big deal. Don't let anybody tell you anything else.
Segue to the cruiserweights. What would the cruiserweights be thinking of Oleksandr Usyk, saying that he wants to come back to cruiserweight, specifically Billam-Smith and Riakporhe?
Well, they'll be thinking, God, I'll be getting paid well, but oh my God, oh no. So these guys have got to try and collect as many belts as possible until he does step in there. Of course, they've got to go in there and give it their all. And you've seen fighters go up in weight and come back down again. They're not as strong as what they are. And Usyk's a good fighter. And Usyk has proved he can do it at top level, so he can definitely do it at bottom level. It might have been tongue-in-cheek to try and stoke, to try and tease, to try and entice Tyson to think, I'm giving you hope, but am I really? Would he step back down to cruiserweight? Has he made enough money to be really happy with his success as a heavyweight champion? No. I don't think he'll do that. I really don't. I don't think there's enough money there for him to step down to cruiserweight. Why would he?
Highlighting this weekend, I've watched several interviews that Riakporhe has done, that Billam-Smith has done. I watched the face-off as well too. And Riakporhe's really kind of hanging on to this idea from his perspective that Chris Billam-Smith is deteriorating. Now, look, he's an offensive fighter, doesn't really focus too much on defense, but have you seen a deteriorating fighter in Chris Billam-Smith?
I understand why Richard said that. He says that because, and I said it previously, I think Chris gets hit far too cleanly, far too often. And his resilience, his toughness is unquestionable. But when you see a man constantly getting hit like that, eventually the cracks are going to show. And I've seen him, and when I've sat there, I thought he's getting hit too much. Right now, he's a fit, young, tough man. Eventually, it will shatter, it will crack, it will have a knock-on effect. That's what Richard's referring to. And listen, I've sat ringside when I said, this boy needs to move his head. His toughness has gotten through, but you're paying a big price at the end of the day. So I understand why Richard said it. I understand what he saw. And you know what, as far as Chris is concerned, it's not making any difference to me. You're delusional. But that's no illusion, man. This guy gets hit a hell of a lot and far too easy. Will this be the time when the cracks show? We don't know. But they will show eventually if you keep boxing like that.
Can you pick a fighter from either of them that might suit having had the first fight more, that will take more from the first fight into this rematch? Who do you think of either fight will take more?
I think this fight will be a hell of a lot harder than the last fight they had against each other. I think if it goes the distance, you'd have to lean towards Chris Billam-Smith because he's tough, he's rough. He devised a game plan that beat Lawrence Okonda, the most unorthodox fighter out there. And he took a lot, he took a shellacking, it was messy, but it was brutal because he got hit. And so that tells me he can go to that well and fight through that well. Richard's got to prove himself, prove that he can go to that well. So these are questions that we don't know the answers from Richard, but we do know the answers from Chris. For Richard, if it goes inside the distance, it means he's managed to he's a powerful hitter, but he's got to let the hands go. His last fight told me this boy can let the hands go. When you let the hands go, you're dangerous. Heavyweights, that's why I say this boy can punch. So Chris is going to make him work. And if Chris makes him work, I actually think that'll benefit Richard more than anything because he's got to let the hands go or get rolled over.
I've seen a gentleman from the Winkerbank gym in the form and the name of Prince Nassim Hamed maybe making a few comments, maybe a bit of criticism towards Ben Whittaker and the way he performs in the ring there. Is he copying, is he cloning? Ben's been adamant that this is my own style, I'm doing my own thing in the ring, but Is Naz right in where I'm paraphrasing, saying what he's saying there, and he should have got rid of Leon Willings in the last fight?
Let's remember this. Naz he was something different, something very special. Naz will even now struggles to compliment any fighter. Even now, the size of him, they say, yeah, but you're never gonna beat me. That's Naz being Naz. So if he can't big up his own son and say, "My son, blah blah blah," he's not gonna do it with Ben Whittaker. So that's just Naz. That's Naz being Naz. You know, as far as he was concerned, and he was. You know, he was a phenomenon. He did something that nobody's done. Now you're asking him to comment and speak highly of Ben as though put him on the same plateau. Naz ain't gonna do that. Naz will never do that. He doesn't do it about any fighter. So Ben's got no chance for Naz to do that. So in reality, you know, you're gonna let the young guns do their thing and get on with what they're getting on with. But Naz ain't gonna big him up. Naz won't do that. That's not him.
You take on the young gun in the form of Daniel Dubois, who defeated Filip Hrgović. Now looks like he's set up a fight with Anthony Joshua. A lot of people maybe online writing off Daniel Dubois' chances against Joshua because of his accolades in the ring, for sure. But what do you think of that fight? Is it closer than people are saying, or do you think that Joshua's the heavy favourite in that fight?
Heavyweight fights are dangerous, close fight until you get in the ring and get hit. I think Anthony Joshua's far too clean, polished, experienced for Daniel Dubois. You can't write Daniel Dubois off. I think it was a career best performance from Daniel Dubois. He boxed with confidence, pace, pressure. He wasn't clean, but he grew. He grew in the ring. He grew in front of us, and I thought, well, good on you. I think Anthony Joshua should deal with Daniel Dubois. Too clean, too correct, too mature. And as long as he goes in with the right attitude, letting the hands go, like we now start to see that, letting the hands go, as long as everything's intact, Anthony Joshua should get the job done.
We've got an interview coming up with Dave Dubois, who's also getting some comments coming his way with his interactions in the corner there. What do you make of the corner of Daniel Dubois, which consists of Don Charles and also Dave Dubois, who's putting his comments into Daniel?
I think Don Charles is a very underrated coach. He's very, very good. Probably he will emerge to be one of the best coaches. Unfortunately, until he gets the right materials to work with, people won't recognise that. And even with Daniel, even if Daniel pulls this off, you know, you've got to see that. You've got to give Don his props for actually getting this boy through it, because we've seen him fight through, we've seen him go down, we've seen him get back up again. I rate Don Charles. In the corner, his old man was screaming at him, you know, but then the relationship, I understand that the old man is has a lot of authority in the household, should I say. So in that fight, when he needed his son to dig deep, get down and do that gut shake, he needed every cheerleader going. But you can't praise that and then slag down Tyson Fury's corner when you got three voices shouting left, right, and centre. You can't do that. So in me, there needs to be one voice. There needs to be one motivating factor. There needs to be clear, calculated instructions. And you heard Don shout it, and Daniel used it, and he got success. Double jab, straight through. You heard him say it, but there were so many distractions in that corner. To me, it would have been detrimental. So if Daniel didn't win, we wouldn't have been. You know, if he didn't win, then everybody else in the corner would have got the blame. You know, the only difference between he and Tyson Fury is Tyson lost. So everybody else in the corner getting blamed. There needs to be one voice, one respectful voice that they pay attention to in the corner. And as far as I'm concerned, that's how it should be. That's respectful, man. That's like, it's great when it's good, but when it fails, everybody else gets the blame.
Have the question marks surrounding his heart from many people, have they been answered for you off of the back of the performances against Jarrell Miller and now Hrgović?
He's had to grow up in public. So yeah, I questioned his heart. He's a boy. As a heavyweight, he's a boy that's growing up in public. So you know what? When you start your career, you're going to get criticised, and that's part of the growing up in our game. You've got to be able to take the criticism. You've got to be able to say, right, this is me now, I've grown up. He's growing up. And now after that fight, you think, you know what, I got it. The fight before I came through, the fight before, he's got it. Now the penny's finally dropping. So to me, I just think it's part, that's just how it is. It's part of the game.
Very lastly, Wardley versus Clark, we're looking for the rematch there. Just speaking to Fraser Clark, he said he'd be disappointed if the rematch doesn't happen next, but can understand if maybe a fight happens in between and those two have that fight. Who would you favour in the rematch if it happens either immediately or down the line?
Well, I think Wardley boxed outstandingly. Clark he boxed. He went to the depths of a water that he'd never been to and thought, actually, I'm better than this. So I think it'll be a different fight, but the fight would still be as hard. I think Clark has the pull, has the power to pull it through. But again, that fight is very tight, very, very close. And I just don't know how much that took out of both fighters, because now they know each other. Now they know what each other is capable of doing. So it's still a very 50-50 fight.
Ronnie, pleasure. Thanks for Seconds Out.